Yeah, I want to go on to the last talking point of the day as we are running out a bit of time. Looking ahead to Thursday night, Ferencvarosi away in the Europa League, 5:45 kickoff. I hope I got that pronunciation right, by the way.
As you said, I'm still trying to learn it for our show.
What kind of lineup do you guys want to see? Because obviously Sonny is probably going to be out. We don't know what's going on with Destiny. Do we want to risk them on Thursday night with a big game away at Brighton on the weekend? I'll start with you, Ricky. What kind of lineup do you expect to see? What do you want to see? Do you want to see Mikey Moore come in?
I know Mac is going to go, oh, here he goes again. But I'm so disappointed that we haven't got Jed Spencer.
And it cut off just as Ricky was about to give us his truths on Mikey Moore about whether he should start on Thursday. So see you laughing there, Ricky, but it's no laughing matter when it comes to Mikey Moore.
I thought you were pronouncing better Ferencvarosi that put the stream down.
Probably.
No, like I say, no, it would be a good opportunity to see Mikey get game time. I think we're all excited. And what I was going to say is actually, before we crashed, is that had Mikey scored that goal at Old Trafford, I think we all would have crashed because that would have been an unbelievable moment, wouldn't it? If that went in for 4-0, my God, I'm not sure how we would have reacted. But I think what was quite interesting is Ange was asked the question in his pre-match before the game against United, would you be afraid to start Mikey in the Premier League? And he went, not so sure about that. So I think Mikey's probably on the verge now of getting that opportunity for a start. Maybe it does come in the Europa League because, look, they're a fairly, to us, unknown quantity. I can't say I know a huge amount about them, although I will do some research on them, of course, ahead of the game on Thursday. But, look, it's an opportunity, as I said, to just keep the momentum going. You know, I think Ange will probably, like he has done, rotate. I don't think it'll be as heavily as Coventry. I think we'll see a similar lineup to that of Karabag, where, again, he'll make a few adjustments. I think, look, Brighton is a big game for Spurs on the Sunday, and I think we've mentioned this about how Spurs do navigate the Thursday to Sunday in general, because I think that was one of the things definitely under Maurizio that we struggled with at times, to be fair to him. And under the previous managers, we know that weren't even wanting to be in Europe. So it feels that he's just got to get that right in terms of that rotation piece. But I think in the whole, an opportunity again for probably people might not be saying this, but Timo Werner probably needs more minutes, let's be honest about it. You know, I know there's a couple of big misses against United that we mentioned on our show, but he's not had a huge amount of game time. So you'd imagine Timo will get minutes on Thursday. Dominic Solanke's in good form now. Is that, again, another opportunity for confidence-wise him to keep on scoring? Wouldn't be against that. But I think at the same time, you have got to have one eye on Brighton on Sunday. It won't be an easy game despite them just being battered by Chelsea. So it's just about making the necessary changes so the lineup isn't necessarily too weakened, but good enough to go and get a result in Europe.
Lee, who would you like to see start in the front line? Obviously, Sonny probably won't make it. Odebear's out. So I guess there's not too much options, isn't there? There's Will Lancashire, there's there chomping at the bit to get on the pitch. There's Mikey Moore chomping at the bit. Or would you like to just see it go? Because Thursday and Saturday, I think, bar Sonny, it was the same, wasn't it? With Solanke and Brennan on the right. Would you like to see Mikey Moore come in on the left or Timo Werner to retain his spot?
Yeah, I mean, I was quite critical of Timo on our show that we did after Manchester United, because I think he's in the side to put them chances away. And not being funny, he needs to put them chances away. I think he needs it for the fan base. Need it. He needs it. He needs it for his confidence. So you know, so I was the biggest criticism I had of the whole situation on Saturday, and it wasn't a harsh criticism because we won 3-0. So like, what's there to moan about? But it was the finishing of Timo. And I think that's fair. So to see him come in and get them goals, he needs to get some goals, lads, doesn't he? And viewers, he needs to get some goals under his belt just to get some confidence. But that also means that Mikey Moore then potentially doesn't get a start. And just again, I said it at the beginning of the show about you know, the Poch era and Poch making loads of changes, and it feels like that again here. How many times have we absolutely chomping at the bit for Harry Kane to start a Premier League game? Do you remember when he first came in? He was starting some Europa games and he was getting some games, and all of us, to a person, to a fan, we were like, Kane, get him in. And it was wait. You look at Phil Foden, obviously, over at Man City, and how many of their fans and everybody, English fans, were saying, get him in. And Pep's like, no, we're blooding him in, gradually, and actually, does he become the player he is today without doing that? And so there's some instances there with young talent. I think you've got to trust the guys around there. I would absolutely love to see Will Lancashire and Mikey Moore have a go. I don't think it would be from the start, though. I think start a couple of the seniors. I think Dominic Solanke is still getting up to fitness. He's almost like using these Europa League games as a bit of a pre-season as an effect. And I think, and the same almost with Brennan Johnson is like, they are on fire. Keep it going. Do you know what I mean? Like if Brennan starts and he gets another couple of goals against this lot, his confidence is going to go through the roof. And the same with Solanke. So I think my viewpoint on these games is that, one, playing every 3 days, I think is going to be good for us. We've got a manager that's talking it up rather than talking it down, as Rick just said about earlier, and I love that. And I think, when you're playing rubbish and you're playing poor and, you want these games come thick and fast to get out, to play yourself into form. When you're playing really well, you want these games to come thick and fast because you want to continue the momentum, right? So I don't think there's any downside. My viewpoint would be that you keep maybe 4 or 5 at the spine. I'm actually really pleased that you played Vicario against carrier bag, as Rick was calling it the other day, because ultimately, we probably don't keep a clean sheet. No disrespect, if Vic's not in goal. So I'd like to see that. I think Van de Ven needs a rest, but this time Romero's back, so Dragusin comes in. And actually, maybe you keep a Romero in there, so it's still
Dragusin's out. Dragusin's suspended.
Banned, isn't he? Yeah.
Of course, Dragusin is out. Forgive me, because he's got a ban. So you got Ben Davies coming in there for sure, then, because you can't be playing Mickey Van de Ven, I don't think, again, because we're running the risk of his tasty hamstrings going down.
But Lee, what do we do then if Destiny Udogie can't play? Because you got Udogie out, you got Dragusin out. Spence ain't part of the squad.
That's what I think. I think Gray left back and Porro have to play again.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, it feels that way, doesn't it? Yeah, again, and that comes back to the point Rick you made earlier about the whole Jed Spence situation. Because if Jed Spence is available, you play Jed Spence left back, wouldn't you? You play Archie back right, and then you play Ben Davies and Romero as your backs. I think you bring in you don't want to change it up too much, but if Basuma's going to be playing, I think it'd be half and half between Basuma and Bentancur. I think they'll play half each or something along the lines. Maybe Basuma starts, gets 60 minutes, and Bentancur comes on, and Basuma maybe starts against Brighton. And then, the forward line, I mean, I'd love to see Mikey. I think, raise your hands if you'd all like to see Mikey. I think we all would, wouldn't we? Do you know what I mean? So, not like exactly. But I do think that these I don't want to be disrespectful because we don't know them, and it's away from home, and it might be a tough game. And, with all the faults that Werner's got, and he's got a lot, let's be fair about it, but he has got experience. He has got experience in European football, playing away from home, hostile crowds. And like I say, all he needs is, actually for the good of the rest of the season, he only needs to get 2 or 3 goals, even if one goes in off his backside or he takes a one-on-one, and then the confidence is up. Look at the turnaround just seen with Johnson. If that happens to Werner, wow. I mean, we're cooking on gas, aren't we, team?
100%. We are, but I mean, we've been waiting for this Werner uptick in form for about 5 years now, since that season he had at Leipzig, to be fair. But yeah, I mean, the back four is an interesting one because you're looking at, those are the 4 players that will probably play. Pedro Porro at right back. Does Gray come in at centre back or does he go to left back? And then you got Ben Davies. Does he play at centre back or left back? And then obviously Coutinho Romero. So which way do you think he'll go with it?
I reckon he goes Gray left back because so he can invert and play in that midfield position as well. I think he's probably a bit more comfortable there. And in a way, the way we play our fullbacks, even though he's right-footed, it could suit him inverting, coming into the central mid, a bit like how Timber does it for Arsenal or something like that. So I think he'll go. I reckon he puts Gray left back. Porro got a rest last week, so he's going to play this week, like Udogie played last week. And obviously he went off injured. So obviously Romero was suspended for the first game, so he can play this game. So actually, as much as it's frustrating not having Dragusin or Udogie, the fact that Romero and Porro got a rest last week puts them in a better position to be able to play this week. so they can play those couple games.
And then you're looking at the midfield. I assume Bissouma comes in. Bentancur's played a lot of minutes, obviously. And then Bergvall has to start after the heartache of going off after 10 minutes in the last game. So who takes the last spot? I think Maddison gets a rest because I think he did him the world of good for that rest against Manchester United. So do you go Kulusevski or do you go Pape Matar for that last spot
I
in the
think
midfield?
I agree. Really. Sarr needs game time as well. Get up to speed. Definitely.
Because you saw that midfield. Was that the same midfield? Was it Bissouma at Coventry or was it it was Bentancur, wasn't it? It was Bentancur, Sarr, Bergvall.
I think we'll get some news this week on the Bentancur ban. So the reality is, if he doesn't play this Thursday, you're then going to have to wait until the next European game to get him to play. So I don't know whether you do play Bentancur this Thursday just to keep him involved with game time. I mean, I know he's had quite a lot of game time in the last...
Guys, do you know, sorry to interrupt you a bit, but Rick, do you know, you said about getting news. Well, is his ban going to be affected just in the Premier League? Is it an FA ban?
Domestic, domestic.
The FA Cup, it'll be FA Cup, League, and Carabao.
Cup,
Yes,
so
he's going to be our guy that plays in that role.
He'll be our Thursday night man, won't he? He'll be our Thursday night man. It'll be interesting what Ange does, actually, if he does play him on Thursday, because you've got this impending ban hanging over him, which I think we're expecting to get some news on this week, the severity, the length of it. So, yeah, we'll be holding our breath.
They're saying it's going to be a minimum of 6 games, don't they? So, it's going to be, which is frustrating. But, I think, or is it, how do you know it's this week? Was that what they're saying this week?
I'm led to believe we'll get some form of a decision this week or next week, but I was led to believe it'll be this week. We're going to hear some news on it. So,
okay. That'll be interesting. So maybe he will play them Bentancur if that's true.
Yeah, if they get the news obviously before Thursday, then I assume Bentancur will come straight in, and then it will be. But then that does bring it back to the exact same midfield that we had against Coventry: Bentancur, Sarr, Bergvall. And let's be honest, they didn't perform great, but I guess they are great players in their own right. And the more they play with each other, the more they get used to each other, and I guess the more synergy that they'll show together.
Absolutely, yeah, I totally agree. I think Bergvall has looked really good when he's come on in games. He just, like I said, like Lee said earlier, needs the opportunity to play. He was devastated not to play, of course, the amount of minutes he got in the previous game against Karabakh, but at the same time, he looks like he's really, chomping at the bit. He's come on. He's obviously provided the semi-assist for Solanke during the game against Man United. The guy wants to play, so look, this needs the game time.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I think if you can, we didn't talk about the goalkeeper, Ben, to be fair, but if you can,
not Fraser Forster, mate, just not Fraser Forster. I can't be seeing him come in.
I mean, you got to keep 5 of them, what you call kind of senior players, as the rocks in there, and that would probably be, for me, that would be a Romero, a Vicario, a Bissouma you would put in there. Maybe you'd put a Sarr in that category because he was a starter all last year and he's got that experience. And then maybe a Dominic Solanke up front and a Timo Werner with and then you sprinkle in a Bergvall, a Por. I mean, Por's it's quite a Ben
Porro
Davies
start,
team. That's actually quite a senior team. Maybe we should put some more youngsters in the team. Let's get Mikey Moore in, Will Lancashire. Let's get them all on. Let's go.
Would you be
imperative Lancashire plays, I think, or some sort of minutes, because he needs to get going this season.
Yeah, I'd like to see Solanke start and then maybe come off with half an hour, 25 minutes to go and give Will Lancashire significant game time. I mean, would you be against the front three of Timo, Solanke, and Moore on the right?
No, I think that's cool. I just think that I think that's good. I think just seeing how Brennan is at the moment, if Brennan doesn't start or play, he can't get 5 in 5, can he? And I think I know Ange won't be thinking like that, but actually from a confidence of a player perspective, from where he's come from, it'd be brilliant, wouldn't it, to be going into that Brighton game with Brennan scoring 5 and 5.
He'll be 5 and 5 after Brighton, though.
It could be. To be fair, if he doesn't play, if he don't play at all, it could well be. I do want to see Mikey Moore. I think what Ange will do will be different to what we want. I don't think he starts him, which is a shame. Away from home, I don't think he starts him. Maybe if it's a home game, maybe. But even in the home game we just had, didn't start him, did he? So I don't think he starts him. But I wouldn't be opposed to what you just said before, which was Werner, Solanke, and maybe Johnson to start, and then bring Lancashire and Moore on with 35 minutes to go once the game's done. If we can get the job done, boys. Our away record in Europe's shocking.
Yeah.
Well, Richarlison was seen on the grass last week, so maybe he's getting close to fitness as well, which could be good.
That's a great point, Tim, because that is the other dynamic that we're not even thinking about yet until you brought it up. Is that a fully fit Richarlison? You've seen him in an 8-9 game spell last season. That when he's fully fitting on it, he can do something for us. And now we're not reliant on him as being our number 9 because we've got Dom. So actually, comes in as kind of somebody that comes in after 30 minutes of 35 minutes game left to what. Huge asset to come off the bench and change the game up, and even go 2 up top if you need to. If you're under caution, you need another goal, you can have both of them up top. Do you know what I mean? In some instances, so he needs to be fit, doesn't he, Sim? He needs to get fit.
Agreed. I think that'd be vital. Also allows us to give Solanke a rest when need be, and because a lot at the moment we're very reliant on him playing up front because he's our only fit striker, and he makes such a difference, doesn't he, Solanke? What a difference he's made in that forward line with his pressing and his hold-up play. He's been. I mean, it's been such early days in his Tottenham career, but you can really see what he's bringing to the team already, can't you? Which is a real testament to himself and also the recruitment, like bringing him in. Because a lot of people questioned that, didn't they?
I think you got to put your tats off to the recruitment and the Ange Postecoglou for the way they're building this squad. I don't think it's anything close to the finished article yet. Well, I do think it's fairly close, but not the finished article just yet. When you're looking at the squad this season compared to last season, you're worried about if certain players come in. But this year, you're looking at the squad, you're not really worried if any of these certain players come in.
Yeah, there's not a biggest drop-off, Ben, in terms of quality. I think that's really important to say that last season you were worried if you had an injury at left or right back. Now, I do feel with Spence in the last couple of games for me, I feel quite assured that if Destiny isn't available, if Power isn't available, I think Jed can do a job for us. And I think going back, not being negative, I think that's for me one of the disappointments that he's not in these first set of Europa games. I think he could have really benefited from the regular game time because of the Premier League. But listen, please God, we have a long Europa campaign and Jed's there for the second part of it and helps us get to Bilbao, fingers crossed.
Yeah, it's just that when you're trying to navigate this part of the season where you got 2 games a week, literally every week, it's just a shame after what he's shown in the Premier League when coming on that he's not, because, right in the situation that we're in now, if Destiny's not going to play and you got and Radu Dragusin out suspended, he would have come straight in. And it just doesn't make sense to me.
With Archie Gray, they obviously feel that he's so adaptable and flexible that he can play central midfield, he can play right back. I'm sure, again, he can play centre back as well. So, I mean, to go back to Andy's word of befuddled, I am befuddled by that decision. But again, gonna have to take him on it. He's the boss.
To be fair, a friend of the show, obviously Ali Gold, is a long time comes on our show and all that sort of stuff. Last one on Spurs, and he said, didn't he? Every week he was asking Ange the same question in the press conferences, wasn't he, about the homegrown scenario and Europe and all that sort of stuff. I think at one point Ange just said to him, he said, you're more worried about it than I am, Ali, or whatever. and in the end, Ali was proved it was right to be raising it because he had to make some tough decisions. So I think Ange knew that. It is a shame, but look, maybe bigger picture here, maybe it will sort itself out later on. Like you just said, we have a longer time in it and we don't need it. But it does feel a bit strange for this upcoming game. If Destiny's not fit or if he's struggling, I wouldn't be risking Destiny at all because we need him in the Premier League because he's been brilliant. So, we now haven't got a recognised left back unless you put Ben Davies there. But then if you do that, then we haven't got a left-sided centre-back to come in because Dragusin, and then you've got to play Mickey van der Ven. And I think all of us are in agreement that he needs a day off, right?
Yeah,
agree.
I know McAlarkin.
Go on.
Sunday is the Highline derby, lads. Brighton against Spurs.
You and your Highline derbies. Last time we had a Highline derby, Rick, away from home, we absolutely smashed them 4-0. And everyone was telling me that Villa are miles better than Tottenham and they're going to do this and they're going to do that. And we went up there and we absolutely ruined them. So let's hope we're going to do the same to
you're right. I mean, look,
Van der Ven's his hamstrings are really going to get a workout on Sunday, that's for sure.
Well, they seem to be done by one ball over the top, so fingers crossed we can work our magic against Ferencvarosi on Thursday and be ready for the derby.
João Gomez, long ball over the top from Lewis Dunk. João Gomez, is that
João Pedro.
We ever go at Ange at times of a high line, but we've not got Lewis Dunk as our centre back in our high line, have we? So we should be complaining, maybe.